What if I told you there's a motorcycle that looks like it time-traveled from the 1930s, but under the skin, it's a 1980 German powerhouse? Meet the BMW R100 Good Ghost, a steampunk dream come alive, hiding secrets under a ghostly aluminium cloak. Ladies and gentlemen, if Frankenstein had a leather jacket, an art degree, and a sommelier's certificate, he'd probably ride the BMW R100 Good Ghost. This isn't just a motorcycle. It's what happens when Downton Abbey crashes into Mad Max at full speed and decides to host a tea party in the wreckage. I'm Timmy from Timmy Tiny Wheels, and today we're talking about a steampunk masterpiece that packs wine under the saddle, tools in its tail, and more class than my neighbor Steve, who wears a tuxedo to mow the yard, even though I told him to stop. So, hit that subscribe button faster than a couch expert yelling, "I could build that myself," at the TV. Let's dive into the strange, charming, and utterly delightful Good Ghost. Once upon a 2020, yes, that 2020, the year we all discovered banana bread and existential dread, a custom motorcycle workshop named Kingston Customs in Germany decided that the BMW R100 RS needed a Victorian makeover. Leading this oddball transformation was Dirk Oehlerking, a man who looked at a 1980 BMW R100 RS and said, "What if this motorcycle wore a monocle and quoted Shakespeare?" The project was commissioned by Bobby Haas, founder of the Haas Moto Museum in Dallas, Texas, a man who clearly woke up one day and thought, "I want a motorcycle that looks like it came with a handwritten letter and a bottle of Bordeaux." And so, the Good Ghost was born. It joined Kingston's previous creations, the White Phantom and Black Phantom, to complete what I can only describe as the Scooby-Doo villain trilogy of custom bikes. The team didn't touch the chassis much, nor the engine. No, they let those classic German bones shine and instead wrapped it all in a hand-shaped aluminium tuxedo that screams Herr Moto von Gentleman. Let's not get fooled by the dashing good looks. This thing is still very much a boxer brawler underneath. Underneath all that steampunk aluminium is the classic 971 cubic centimeters BMW Boxer. Well, technically now it's 971 cubic centimeters, but who's counting? It produces 72 horsepower and is cooled by air, like all respectable Boxers from an era before radiators got too big for their britches. The carburation system runs on Bing Type 94 carburetors with a belt-driven camshaft and 2 valves per cylinder. It's the kind of engine that politely grumbles when you start it, like your neighbor who complains that nobody respects real engineering anymore. A 5-speed manual transmission sends power to the rear via shaft drive. That's right, no greasy chains, just clean, quiet torque delivery, the kind that says, "Sir, may I gently accelerate you?" The front suspension is a telescopic fork 36 millimeters in diameter, and the rear is a twin-shock swing arm, both standard for the R100 RS platform. It's basically BMW saying, "We'll let you wear a top hat, but don't forget where you came from." Braking is handled by dual 260mm, AT discs up front, switched to Brembo after 1980, and a single rear Brembo disc, which is more than enough to stop a ghost. Wheels? 19 inches, up front with 90 by 90 tires, 18 inches in the rear with 100 by 90 tires, wrapped in classic spokes or BMW's iconic snowflake aluminium alloys, because even your wheels should have a little poetry in them. Dimensions, we're talking 107 inches, 2,720 millimeters, long 44 inches, 1,120 millimeters high, with a wheelbase of 58 inches, 1,470 millimeters, and a ground clearance of 6.5 inches, 165 millimeters. The weight comes in at 179 kilograms. That's 394 pounds. Top speed? About 120 miles per hour, 190 kilometers is more than enough for a ghost who's late to his seance. Fuel consumption? Somewhere between 4 to 6 liters per 100 kilometers. That's around 39 to 59 miles per gallon, depending on how gentlemanly you twist the throttle. The entire body is made from 2mm aluminium sheets, hand-shaped into smooth, haunting curves that completely shroud the wheels like a Victorian widow hiding behind her veil. There's a BMW-style kidney grille embedded in the front. Yes, a motorcycle with a car's face, because why not? The leather seat stretches from the tip of the fuel tank to the tail and lifts up to reveal, and I am not making this up, a bottle of wine and a glass, right under your backside. There's even a corkscrew and a spare spark plug hidden in there. Because nothing says continental flair like fixing your ignition and toasting to your own genius in the same motion. But wait, there's more. Tucked inside the rear wheel arches are two compartments. Under one, a full vintage toolkit. Under the other, a set of antique silverware from the early 20th century. Spoons, forks, knives. Basically a dinner party with wheels. Due to the fancy seat, the original fuel tank had to be removed and replaced with a custom fuel cell behind the gearbox, fed by an electric fuel pump. And did I mention it hasn't been sold? This is a one-off museum piece, never auctioned, never duplicated. It sits at the Haas Moto Museum, sipping wine and judging lesser motorcycles like an aristocrat at a backyard barbecue. I'll be honest, I liked this bike the moment I saw it. Not because it's the fastest, or the lightest, or the most practical. No, I like it because it has soul and wine and silverware. It's a machine that whispers, let's take a ride, then eat brie under the moonlight. It's eccentric. It's stylish. It's probably judging me right now. And you know what? It should. Subscribe, like, comment, and tell me, if your bike had a hidden feature, what would it be? Mine would probably have a mini bar with chilled schnapps and a sign that says, after 6 p.m. only, Timmy! See you next time on Timmy Tiny Wheels, where the bikes are weird, the stories are real, and the host still owes someone a fork from 1932.